Yep.
So what's going on, guys? I decided to do a YouTube live video today. As you can see on the description of the video, I injured my back. So I know I'm a physical therapist, I should know better, but back injuries can hit anybody at any time. I just want to talk a little bit about why I feel like I got injured and what I did to recover from the injury. So initially, I've been working a strength training program and it was squat day, so my lifts were based around the squat. And what happened was I had been sitting and editing a lot of video content and a course that I'm working on. And so I've been sitting a lot, not getting up frequently as I should have been. So what happened was I kind of stiffened up throughout the day. I had to go pick up my kids or also run some errands, so I wanted to squeeze in a workout. Now, I was working up to about 85% of my 1 rep max. Now, my 1 rep max for squatting isn't very much at all, but obviously for me, it was quite a load. So I was sitting around all day. My back got kind of stiff. So that was my first mistake, is not moving enough throughout the day. The second mistake was I tried to rush my warm up and rush my weight. So I got out there, I did some basic movement. I literally maybe moved my hips a little bit, did a very light body weight movements, some body weight squats, a little bit of weight, and then I started working up my squat. So it was actually the first set, I was probably at about 75% of my 1 rep max. And so I loaded everything, braced everything properly. I went down and I felt like a pull and just something just kind of grabbing my low back, primarily on my lower right side. Now, when this happened, I immediately stopped. Obviously, I knew that I had messed up. So the other thing was I didn't listen to my body. That was another thing. I felt kind of stiff as I was moving down into the squat, and I should have just stopped right there. Either spent more time warming up or lightened the weight, but I didn't listen to my body. So I knew better, but I was trying to rush things. So when you're lifting and trying to build your strength and you're putting some more weight on the bar, you have to be really mindful. So I didn't have any pain down the legs, no ridiculous symptoms. It felt just centralized to my lower back. So the first key there is, obviously don't diagnose yourself, but if you feel like it's a muscle strain, no pain down the legs, no shooting, that's a good sign. And that's the way I felt. Everything just kind of started to stiffen up. So my first key was to keep moving throughout the day. So as I did that, I tried to not let myself stay in one position for too long. I tried to actually walk not as much as I could, but consistently, throughout the day. I think I injured myself around 5 o'clock p.m. So I really tried to stay loose and keep moving. So that was number one, really try to stay loose, keep moving. The other thing I did was some basic exercises. So here's a few techniques that I did. I was really mindful of pain, okay? So I did have a level of pain, but I tried to do anything that would improve my range of motion, not increase my pain levels. So initially what I did was actually I would lie down on my back on my bed and I would do some basic knee to chest stuff. So actually the first thing I did was I had my knees bent and I just did some basic side to side trunk rotation. So I had my knees together. I tried to keep my back fairly flat. I didn't go to pain. I went to where I felt a stretch, but if pain started to initiate, I would stop. So I did that a little bit. And as you can see, I have more movement going to the right with my legs than I do to the left. So I did injure the right side, so that's kind of more restricted. Now, this was number one. The second exercise I did was some basic knee to chest. Now, if you can't reach your hips or your legs, if you're that stiff, grab a strap or a belt and just gently pull up. Just do it the best you can, okay? So that was the second thing I did. I did about 5 times for 10 seconds on this one on each leg. So here, I hold 10 seconds and I would do 10 seconds in this leg as well. The next thing that I did, if I could tolerate the single knee, I tried the double knee if I could. I grabbed here and just gently brought the knees to my chest the best that I could. I couldn't go all the way like I can now. I kind of brought them up a little bit here and then support them on the way down. And you can even do some small little circles with the hips if you can tolerate that. But basically, all I could do was a single knee to chest and a little bit of double knee to chest. Now, the next thing that I did was a little bit of, my hips started getting a little bit tight. So I would work a little bit of a pure form of stretch. So I would take my leg, load it, put my ankle on the opposite leg, and just gently bring my knee to my opposite shoulder. And I would do this for about 15 seconds for about 5 reps. Just nice and easy in this direction, and then I'll do the other side nice and easy, just to elicit a stretch in here. Now, the other thing that I did was cat-cow, very basic. So actually, when I got up from the bed, I would try to log roll. So I'd straighten this leg and try to log roll to the side, and then bring my legs off the edge of the bed and come up to limit any kind of twisting or torsion on my back. So I would get in that hands and knees position, and I would just work really light cat-cow movement. And I actually, this was even a little bit tough, so, and this might look kind of silly, I got on my elbows, and I would just gently rock my butt back, and then come forward. So I would do this, and this works in a couple planes. It would kind of help my back get a little bit of movement in. I would also get some hip movement and some hip flexion. So this kind of felt good to work this plane, just to get some movement. And I was doing anything to get some movement in my trunk and my spine. So I did this one. So just cat-cow, small range. I did about 10 of them for 3 to 5 second holds. And I didn't go to pain. Again, like you might feel stiff, and what happens is you get stiff, and as you start moving, you'll loosen up a little bit. And that was the key for me. I knew it was kind of my musculature that was injured and that was stiff. Because as I started moving and doing more, I start to feel better, I start to feel a little more loose, and the pain kind of resolved a little bit. So I did a little cat-cow here. I even got down here on my elbows and just kind of worked this way and back. Just nice and easy. And even kind of work into one side and the other, just whatever I could tolerate to get some gentle movement in. So the other thing I used, I'll grab this here. I used, so the podcast that I do with Chewy is sponsored by Charlotte's Web. So we get some of their products all the time, and they have this new cooling gel I was using, and I wanted to try it out because it's a new product they had. So it's got some, I think some menthol and things like that to help. It's also got the CBD in it, and that's something I've been using, and it was, I feel like it's been helpful as well because I was kind of stiff and had really point tenderness and pain. So I used that. And then, so a debate is whether you use ice or heat, after an injury. For me, ice is okay if you want to do that. Usually within the first 48 hours, it can kind of help with some pain. But I felt like I had more stiffness than anything, so I used some heat for about maybe 10 minutes. I use it every couple hours or as needed. Now, the ice isn't wrong. There's a lot of different theories on which one you should use. Again, the ice can help with some pain, but it can lead to some increased stiffness. For me, I felt like it was the musculature was really tight. Putting a little heat on there was beneficial for me to help with some of my symptoms. I just kept moving. As far as, here's another thing, sleeping. Sleeping was really tough the first night. So sleeping position for me most comfortable was on my side, and the key for me was putting something between my knees. So when I was sleeping, I used a pillow. Let's pretend like this is a pillow here. It's just a yoga block. I was on my side, and I would put a pillow between my knees just to help the alignment of my hips, and I would sleep like this. If I was sleeping on my back, I would try a couple pillows under my legs to bring my knees up a little bit to give me a more neutral spine, to take some tension off of my spine, okay? So that's what I did, and that's what I was doing, and I just started to continue to advance my mobility and my motion as things went on. So again, if you're initially injured, this is just what I did. Everybody's injury is different. Try to maintain range of motion the best you can and movement. That's going to help with blood flow, circulation, and promote healing. Ultimately, those other things, the cooling gel was beneficial in controlling some of my symptoms. Just be mindful of, listen to your body. Obviously, I didn't do that. Try to rush something that it was strenuous on my body and it just wasn't ready, and I didn't listen to my body. So again, you know yourself better than anyone else will. So just listen to your body. Hopefully, some of these exercises and tips are beneficial for you. And if you have any questions, shoot me a comment. And I can see if I can get them answered and sent them out to you. So